The Glock G19 versus the G48, let's check it out. The Glock Model 19 is Glock's most popular firearm. It's just one of those guns that's concealable, yet it shoots like a full-size gun. I've had the Glock 19 for over 30 years, and I'm a big fan. And I've carried this gun for a long time. Now, this is a Gen 5, so it's not this particular gun, but if I had one handgun, just one, it would be the Glock 19. And a lot of my friends feel the same way. It's not that I feel this is the best gun, it's just that I have a lot of time invested in the Glock 19. Then came out the G48, along with the G43X. And these two guns are very similar in profile. In fact, they're pretty much identical, but one carries 10 rounds and one carries 15 rounds. But yet, the Glock 43 is a lot thinner, while the G19 is thicker. Now we're going to take a look at some advantages and disadvantages of both of these pistols, and I think you'll find it pretty interesting. Now guys, this idea was actually inspired by one of my viewers, Nathaniel, and I just appreciate him mentioning this. I mean, when he said it, I thought that's a no-brainer. These two definitely need to be compared. So we have the G48 and the G19. One thing that you'll definitely notice is this really light colored slide, which Glock has changed to a black PVD finish. If that's something that bothers you with the silver, then you can definitely get this in the black version. First thing we're going to do is make sure the guns are unloaded. We're going to drop our magazine, check the chamber, and the guns are empty. Now the G19 has been, again, the most popular selling Glock, and for very good reasons. I mean, it's 15+1, it's a full-size handgun, and yet it's concealable. And I have concealed this gun for a long time. Also the G26, which is the 10-round version. But then when you come in with this very slim profile with 10 rounds, and you have a lot thinner grip, I mean, it definitely in your hand feels extremely different than the G19. One big thing is, you'll notice, is that the grip itself, even though it's thinner, there's also some extra back strap on the 19. So not only are you getting a thinner grip, you're getting a shorter, slimmer grip here. Now, one thing that is definitely something that the Glock 19 has going for it is that it does have a little bit of a fuller grip, but you also have back straps. You have multiple back straps you can put on your G19, whereas with the G48, it is what it is. But that's very similar with the G43X, which you have that really slim grip. I did put some Talon grips on here because one of the differences between the G48 and the G19 is the grip texture. You're getting a lot more aggressive grip texture with the G19 Gen 5 than with the G48. These are very muted, in fact almost too much. It's a very slick feel to it in the sides, while you do have a little bit of texturing here and on the back and front, and it's not terrible. I really like the G19. I mean, it gives you a little more gripping surface. But here is really the big deal. I mean, it is a much thinner grip. Now, when you look at it in the specs, it may not seem as thin. You've got a thinner slide, which actually adds to pointability with the G48. The slide on the G48 is 0.87 inches, while the slide on the G19 is 1 inch. And frame width is 1.1 inch on the G48, and it's 1.34 inches on the G19. Well, one thing that really kind of surprised me was that the barrel length on the G48 is actually slightly longer. We have a 4.17 inch barrel on the G48 and on the G19 it's 4.02 inches. But everything else is the same. I mean, the slide dimensions as far as length, even the frame size is the same. I mean, they come into the same position. So really the G48 is just a slimmed down G19. And I'll tell you guys, looking at the specs, they don't seem to be quite as different, but there is a huge difference in gripping these two pistols. Now with the G48, you have a 10-round magazine, and with the G19, you have a 15-round magazine. So you're getting 5 extra rounds with your G19. But with the advent of the Shield Arms S15 mag, we're getting 15 plus 1 for your Glock 48 or 43X. And so that actually equals out to the G19 with its 15-round magazine. And you have a thicker slide, you have a thicker grip, and so that definitely kind of starts to even things out just a little bit. But with the G19, you can also insert one of the G17 magazines, which holds 17 in one. Then they have the G19X 19-round magazines, which you can also use. But then we have the 33-round magazine from Glock. So that really brings things up to a whole new level. With the 10-round with the standard mag, the 15 with the S15 Shield Arms mag. So you have a lot of choices with your G19, whereas you have limited choices, even though the S15 to me really changed the game for the G48 and G43X. The weight on the G48 unloaded, 1 pound, 4.8 ounces. The weight on the G19 unloaded, 1 pound, 8.2 ounces, a 4-ounce difference. G48 with a 10-round magazine plus 1 pound, 8.4 ounces, the same as the Glock 19 unloaded. The G48 with an S15 mag plus 1 pound, 11.2 ounces. Glock 19 fully loaded, 1 pound, 15 ounces. Now one major difference is there's no accessory rail on the G48. I think some of the European models are now coming out with a rail. It's kind of short, but with, of course, the G19, you have your accessory rail, and we can put a number of lights and lasers on there. And really for home defense, I really love a light, and a lot of guys are carrying lights on their concealed carry firearms. Now the G19, especially the MOS, has the RMR cuts, so you can put a red dot on here or some kind of electronic sight. And with the G48, you don't have that option. You could possibly cut one in and then put a Shield Arm sight that would be pretty thin, but at this point right now, the G19 does have the MOS model for the red dots. And we'll thank Vioki for sponsoring the ammo, all made right here in the USA. Good, clean burning ammunition. Also with Lula Loaders, we really appreciate those guys for sending loaders. Save our thumbs. Now when it comes to taking the G48 and the G19 out to the range, shooting them side by side, that is really where you can tell the difference. And there is some differences between these two. Now, number one, they feel like full-size handguns, and they give you a solid grip on the pistols, both of them. With the G48, you have a little bit of a thinner grip, and it makes it a little bit more ergonomic. I mean, for me and for a lot of people, the Glock has definitely had a little bit of a blocky feel to it. With the G48, it's just really a good solid grip on the firearm. And it's not just because it's a little thinner. Again, like we've shown, even the back strap is a little bit less. And so it allows you to get your hand really high up on the firearm. Now, one of the big things though that was really kind of surprising is that the G48 had a little more muzzle rise, and I really like shooting the G19 a little better. Now that may be because I've shot the G19 again for the past 30 years, but I thought with the heavier slide mass on the G19, we'd have a little more recoil, felt recoil with the 19, but it was actually the opposite. And with the G48, it definitely gave you just a little more flip. But to be honest with you, unless I was shooting these side by side, I wouldn't even know the difference. But we've put a lot of rounds through the G48 and a ton of rounds through the G19. And they're just both great shooting handguns. Now, we didn't really go into the accuracy between the two because we've shown it in 2 separate review videos. And so if you want to go and check those out, you can. But it's real comparable. Now the G48, we're going to go ahead and make sure the gun's unloaded. Take off the slide. It's the exact same size frame as your G43X. So we're going to make sure to go ahead and take our slide off. Here we can take our G48 frame and we can throw on our 43X slide. So you have a very short slide system and you can switch those out. But if you already have a regular G43, the slide will also fit on this frame. And so that is one of the big advantages of having a G43. Get the G48 and you can switch it out and you can have long slide or the shorter slide. With the G19, you're pretty much stuck with the G19 slide. But there are some aftermarket options that you can get some long slides for these, but they are aftermarket. But if you really want to put a laser, and I'm sure there are some light options, you can get one that'll clip on here to the front trigger guard. I know Streamlight and Surefire make those, and they're really suitable options. But again, once the rail comes in, it's going to negate that. The G19, again, I've been carrying for a number of years. In fact, when they had the big protest in Virginia, I went up, I switched to my G19. I just felt good about the extra round capacity, and of course I could put in a 33 round mag if I really needed some, my fun stick, just a little more extra rounds. But One Shield Arms offered their S15 magazines, and these are highly reliable. I wanted to go with my G43X. It was just a little bit smaller. It's just easier to carry, and again, I have 15 rounds. So now I have a smaller pistol than with the G19. Thinner, easier to conceal. Yes, the grip is the same length, and grip length does kind of affect your concealed carry as far as printing. But this is a thinner grip, and it's just easier to carry. With the thicker grip, you're going to poke out just a little bit more. And that would apply to just the G48 or the G43X. Yeah, and when they come out with an accessory rail, I'll probably pick one up just to have that capability. But if you want to go with an RMR, definitely the G19 would be the one to go with. And then, of course, with the extended magazines, you have a lot more capability. So to me, my G19 is for more serious things. If I'm going somewhere where I may need to have a little extra, the G19 has always been at my side. But for everyday carry, I like the G43X because of the S15 magazines. And of course, again, the G48 would fall into that role as well. So guys, if you have a 19 and you're thinking about a G48, or you just want either one of these handguns, they're both excellent, but hopefully we've shown some advantages and disadvantages of both. And so guys, it's mainly going for what you're looking for, what feels better. And I highly recommend, if you're considering either one of these, is to go to a local gun shop, put both of them in your hands, and see how they feel. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And we're going to thank Fiocchi USA. Uber reliable. Okay. How many rounds are there? There should still be. With the G43, is that the G43. Now, one thing I do like. Now, there is one thing that but we definitely, hopefully, we've shown some different.
The vultures are waiting for us to die.
Robbie's lunch. Robbie, what'd you have for lunch again?
Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. I don't know what I think so funny.